All right, we're live, Kev.
Okay. All right. College football week 7 is here, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back with you, Kevin, Seth, and Steve. BTB Analytics here breaking down top matchups, data, angles, edges. You know the drill. We had a rough weekend, boys. Let's call it out, call it like it is. Model had a little bit of regression, but guess what? We went 1-5, and the model's still profitable. Hitting 54%. You know, we talked about these weekends happening. You know, you're in this game long enough, you're going to have hot streaks, you're going to have cold streaks. You know, so coming off a cold weekend, but hey, the show goes on. The model is still profitable, and we march on. So we're excited about week 7. A lot of great games. It's going to be a fun weekend. We're going to be in College Station for one of these matchups too. So it's going to be. I'm super excited for this weekend. So we got a lot to talk about, boys. Let's jump into some of these marquee matchups and talk about what we're seeing here. So right off the get, let's hop over Ohio, the number 1 team in the nation again here. So model standpoint, set this open at 15 and is now really. We're not showing any value based on our numbers at the moment, you know. But question for you, you know, is this just going to be one of those games where it's a methodical OSU squeeze from start to finish? Ohio State they're our number 3 team in terms of success rate, and which means they just second and manageable, third and manageable. They are keeping drives going largely, and then on the flip side, Illinois' defensive rate, the success rate allowed was 120th in the country. So I could just see the script being long sustained drives. Illinois just never really has a chance to get into this one. But how's your take on this one?
Yeah, I mean that's not a crazy take. I mean now the market's sitting at 16. We basically make it exactly 16 as well.
Oh, did it go to 16 as well?
I think that's what I saw. Yeah, and that's exactly what we make the number 16.5 here for Ohio State. I don't know if it's going to be slow and methodical. Ohio State number 7th passing offense going up at Illinois 105th passing defense. So I don't know. I'm expecting at least some explosives here from OSU. We saw a really impressive outing against a Minnesota defense last week. That is really good, quite frankly, and it wasn't enough. The Ohio State defense looked almost just as impressive as the offense last week. And like you said, long methodical drives in that game. I think this is going to be a little bit different, where they're going to throw. Ohio State is already a team that's throwing 6% more than an average team. You combine that again with Illinois' weak pass defense. I think this is just a recipe there for throwing the ball. Now, the one case I would make for Illinois covering here, or the potential cover, if you want to be the contrarian, is Illinois' offensive numbers are not that impressive, but they're not that weak. So 115th on the rush, not that great, but 11th on the pass for Illinois. So they can throw the ball as well. And when you look at their rate of Eccles, so their successful drives, they're number 36 in the nation. And then the points per Eckel on offense, they're number 21. So they're actually paying off these drives at a high rate. So I can see a world where you can backdoor here. You know, the backdoor is open all game. Ohio State, you know, winning by 21. They give up that last minute touchdown. They end up winning by 14. I can see a world where Illinois squeaks one out. Not where we're looking to put our money. We think there's much better bets in the market. But I think if there is a side, I'm thinking the back door is more open than the front door is going to be closed here for Ohio State, because it's hard to just blow teams out over and over and over. What are you really playing for?
I hear that. I'm kind of on the opposite side. I think they're going to be making some new doors, some new holes in Illinois. I mean, you mentioned Illinois' echo rates and whatnot. There's two sides of that coin, right?
Yes.
The OSU defense, number 1 in points per echo, and our number 4 team in echo rate over expected defensively. So, Steve, I don't know, where does your allegiance lie? Do you think this is more likely to be a kind of a blowout or more likely to be a backdoor here?
Oh yeah. No, listen, there is no backdoor in my opinion here. And to be fair, let's not be typically generous. So this is going to be, we talk about the Illinois team who we always, we talked about a couple weeks ago, Indiana, that absolute blowout. Illinois has rebounded, right? They had that good win over USC, and then they had that win over a pretty good Duke team in a fairly dominating fashion, 45-19. And Luke Altmaier has looked pretty good. This is what concerns me, though. I mean, Seth kind of alluded to it here, but I want to take it a step further. You look at what Illinois does on defense versus what Ohio State does on offense. This has the recipe to either work very well for Illinois or be an absolute disaster. So I don't see this being like anywhere, Either it's going to be a very close game all the way through, or it's going to be a blowout. I don't quite see it really in between here. So Illinois is one of the most aggressive defenses in football behind defensive coordinator Aaron Henry, right? So they're 21st in blitz rate. They're first in the PFF passing grade when they do blitz, and they're 10th in sacks here. Now, that's all great. They do 5-man pressures. They try to get to the quarterback and they leave their corners on an island. But here's where this all falls apart. Their secondary isn't really that great. So they have to get home to sort of make up for their weak secondary, who really isn't that great in man coverage, which is a horrible matchup for Ohio State and Julian Sayin, right? You look at Julian Sayin, he's been elite under pressure all year. He's number 1 in a pass grade against the blitz per PFF. Again, he has a 78% completion rate against extra rushers. And we saw this game script, what Illinois did against Indiana, and Mendoza went and sliced them apart here. And what concerns me here is, yeah, for all things that has gone well for Indiana and Fernando Mendoza and what that team has done here, Ohio State has better dudes, right? They've got Jeremiah Smith. They've got Carnell Tate. These are man beaters here. And so this is my concern. If Illinois can't get home, and they can't get home quickly, and they're leaving their DBs on an island with Ohio State's receivers, this is going to get ugly fast. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be another 53-point loss, but I wouldn't necessarily be shocked if Illinois can't do it, because they're just not built for that. So that, to me, is the concerning. That's the angle I'm kind of taking here. Again, either very close or absolute blowout.
Yeah. Ohio State blows out the back.
I mean, you saw what they did against the best offense. They had some success stopping them. They beat that team.
Sure.
Minnesota scored 3 points last week. That offense we know is one of the worst in the nation.
Yeah.
I think Illinois scores 21 to 24 points in that same Minnesota game. I don't know.
To your guys' point, I'm glad there's no value on it from where we stand, because I'm like, I would hate the juxtaposition of this mental model versus
either side of this.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to believe it's a blowout, but with a pass offense that good, you got to assume they're going to have some success.
Yeah, we'll see. Chat, let us know what you guys think. Yeah, is this more likely to be a blowout or more likely to be a backdoor cover in favor of Illinois here? Let us know what you think. Thank you guys, though, for tuning in as well. Don't forget to like the video. Make sure you are also subscribed to the channel. We're doing this live every week for college football as well as for NFL. So stay subscribed. You'll hit those notifications as well every single week when we go live. You'll be able to ride and talk some ball with us. So let's move on, though. We got to go a little bit of lightning speed. We got a hard out here in a little bit. So we got some good matchups to cover. So let's go to the SEC. Boys, how about we talk about Alabama versus Mizzou? So Steve, market standpoint, again, this one opened at Bama -4 here. It's largely at a 3. I see a pretty expensive 3.5 out there now. But again, we make the number 3.5. So we're pretty much right on market here. And then game scripts, is this something where if Mizzou's ground game can get going, like is that has to be the path for them to cover and potentially even win, right? Like they have a number 12 rushing offense per our numbers, and Bama's rusty is just kind of middle of the pack at best, number 71 per our numbers. So is like, what else needs to happen here for Mizzou in order to pull one out?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this in Big Ten football, but this is going to be the one exception for SEC and Mizzou. It's going to be run the damn ball. That's how you win this game here. So Alabama, 4-1. And to be fair, they look like a completely different team that got blown out to Florida State, right? All coming off back-to-back ranked wins over Georgia and Vandy, right? And then you got Mizzou, who, they're undefeated, but they're really untested against the top 25. So this is going to be their real true first test here. And I want to, from the Alabama standpoint, we talk about Ty Simpson. Isn't he, again, I'll shout out to Seth calling it, Nostradamus a couple of weeks ago saying, hey, if you want Ty Simpson at plus 2,200 before going into that Georgia game, that was the time to buy. Well, surprise, surprise, he's down to plus 750 for the Heisman behind only Dante Moore and Carson Beck, right? So his stock is definitely rising here. And they rank number 5 in offensive EPA. And so what this offense can do. And they're getting Jam Miller back. He played last week. He was making an immediate impact in the running game. And so, they look to be on the up and up. And so if you're Mizzou, or if I'm Mizzou, I want to control the pace. We talked about the same thing in terms of the Vandy game script. Keep Bama off the offensive side of the ball and dictate the tempo of the game. And I think Mizzou has a really good chance to do that here. Like you mentioned, they're top 12, one of the best teams in EPA per rush. And Ahmad Hardy really is going to be the key to this game in my mind here. He's rushed for over 100 yards in all 5 games this season. He's 7th in the country in missed tackles forced and yards after contact here, right? So when you combine that with, like you mentioned, the kind of the middle of the pack Bama defense, we talked about them last week or 2 weeks ago in Georgia about how they're not really getting pass rush here. But when you talk about, you say 71st in defensive EPA for the rush, 87 yards per allowed, 109th in explosive plays allowed here, and in 2.5 yards per contact allowed, or excuse me, 2.5 yards before contact allowed here. That's second worst in the Power Four. And so if you're Mizzou, you have the weapons to exploit their defense on the ground here. You got to do it. You got to do it, and you got to make this into your favor. And then the last thing I'll say here is one thing to keep an eye on. They didn't really show up in the Vanderbilt game, but remember, they being Bama are again kind of down defensive pieces. No Jamarian Latham, he had a season-ending injury, and Quay Russaw is also out as well, another linebacker there. So that run stopping ability, is it going to be there? I don't know, but if you're Mizzou, you got to find out.
Okay, all right, Nostradamus. Is and Ty Simpson you trust still? Or
yeah, you got to trust him in this game. Number 6 pass EPA going up with number 50th in Mizzou's defense. So you're going to throw the ball here, but exactly, you called it out, right? If you're Mizzou here, this game is really strength on weakness. Mizzou struggles against the pass. Alabama's good throwing the ball. They should throw the ball, but Alabama's not good stopping the run, and Mizzou runs the ball well. So you're exactly right. That's the game plan. The thing I want to call out, and you alluded to this, running the ball eats clock. It minimizes possessions in the game, higher variance outcomes. That is how Mizzou is going to win this game. That is how Mizzou is going to pull off the upset. And it just so happens that Alabama is weak against the run. So I think that the game plan really plays itself out. Now, can you get the big explosives that you'll need to maybe, come back from, down 4 late in the fourth, sure. And get that win? I think that, Alabama can definitely do that here. But when we're talking about how Mizzou can pull this off, I think it's pretty clear what they're going to try to do. I will say defense, these teams are pretty similar. 4.4 points per equal each on defense. They're both ranked number 69. So, it's not like Mizzou's defense is not that good. Now, they haven't played the same level of strength of schedule, and they definitely haven't played a roster of this talent. So, there's some variability there. But I think Mizzou can definitely pull this off. And this will kind of come back to Ty Simpson's Heisman legacy, so to speak, right? If he can drive them against Mizzou in the fourth quarter and pull off another upset, I think that will kind of solidify probably the front runner for
sure.
Heisman.
Yeah, no, you're probably right, 100%. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Mizzou can stick to the script, because if they get down early, how much does that flip their plans and whatnot? So we'll see. Keep an eye on this one early, because the total has been bought down 3 points already in this one, down to 51.5.
But
so.
Run. You're just going to see so much. And I mean, this was the success for Florida State. I mean, they ran it a lot and then they threw off that. So sure. I don't know, if that's part of the game plan here, but I mean, if there is kryptonite for Bama, it looks to be the running quarterback. So
could be that.
Bo Plebia or Pebia or whatever his name is. I'm sure he's fucking.
Bo Pribula.
He got out of Penn State.
Jesus.
Bullet dodge on that one. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Should be a good SEC matchup for sure. So looking forward to that one. All right, let's move on, though. We got a Big Ten matchup here. Unexpected. I don't know what to think of this one. So Indiana versus Oregon. Seth, help me. Oh, Nostradamus, we got to bring you back in here. So I don't understand the market movement in this one, to be honest, because this opened at 8.5 or 9 is largely now 7.5. So a little bit of movement towards Indiana on this one. We have value on this one. Full disclosure, we're on plus 9.5 in favor of Indiana. So the market has agreed with us from that standpoint, but similar to the Ohio State versus Illinois one, I am really struggling to see how Indiana potentially keeps this one close. I think this is all about Oregon's ability to generate quality drives and make this a one-side kind of affair. Like, they, in my opinion, are the only of the two teams are the only one who has like the true separation upside here. Like, they're the ones who can blow the other one. They have the ability to blow Indiana out, not the other way around. So I'm really concerned, that we have value on this one. So help me piece together where my mental model is missing versus where we see value and how you see this one going.
Okay, Indiana, number 8 passing offense. So I mean, top 10 passing offense right there. We've seen them dominate with that side of the ball. Rush EPA. Indiana's number 15th, going up against Oregon's 47th best offense. Rushing defense. So I mean, they're susceptible against the run. You can have a balanced game. We know Indiana likes to pass first, but on the other side of the ball, defensive weighted EPA, Indiana, number 2 in the nation here. So Indiana's defense is no slouch. And then the other question I would ask as a hypothetical here is, how good is Penn State? There's a lot of questions now that after that game where it is unclear that Penn State might be dog shit. Losing to UCLA is a horrible loss, and we were already having concerns about that offense. If Penn State ends up being this really bad team, is this win over Penn State that impressive? Do we actually know who Oregon is? I would zoom out and I would ask that question, because we know before that Penn State game, they really haven't played anybody. They didn't cover against a Northwestern team. So I think that, I agree with the early move here. I won't be surprised if this, stays on this side of 7. I don't know that we're going to see movement all the way through, but
Sure.
full transparency, our model raw number makes this a pick 'em. We make it 0 points. And my pathway there is through the passing game. Now, the things that, you can cause concern, we've talked about this a lot. This is kind of the first time our model is kind of giving Indiana a shot against the big dogs, but something you've always heard us talk about is talent. Oregon is the number 4th overall roster as far as talent. Indiana number 57. So that's a bit concerning. And then when we look at strength of schedule, somehow Oregon has jumped ahead. They were 127 2 weeks ago. They're now in the 48th hardest schedule. So I'm not exactly sure how that happens in 1 week.
Yeah.
And Indiana 70th. So, there is some discrepancy there, but I do think Indiana has all the intangibles on defense and the passing game specifically for them to have the explosive, for them to have those third down conversions to sustain drives like we've talked about. And I think that could be maybe Oregon's first real test.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, Steve. So that's interesting because Seth raised a question about Oregon's legitimacy. Who have they played? That type of questions. But do you not have the same type of questions on Illinois side Indiana side at this point? Like they dog walked Illinois, right? And then
which is a more impressive win than Penn State. You're right. I mean, we had the same argument again. I call back to Clemson versus LSU. Right? It is right. Like is the LSU win over Clemson really that impressive anymore? Right? I don't know that it is, and I have the same argument here. So yeah, I think of the two, I would lean towards Indiana, and I agree with Seth. Like, yes, Oregon has the dudes. We talked about this. They were in the CFP last year. They were they're making noise. This is going to be a team that is to be reckoned with. But Indiana went from a Cinderella fluke kind of story to no, they can compete. They can do this here. And Fernando Mendoza has proven that time and time again here. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm not calling for an upset here, but I do call for a competitive game. And I think what's going to really come down to is going to be the trenches. Indiana's defense, top 10 in sacks, number 2 in tackles for loss. And so can they get pressure against what most people argue is possibly the best O-line in college football in Oregon, protecting Dante Moore? So if whoever wins the trenches, in my mind, is be able to dictate the game state of this game between the two quarterbacks. And I think it's going to be a lot closer than people expect here. I don't view this Indiana game against the top dog like I viewed the Indiana game last year against like Ohio State. I think this is a completely different scenario. I think they can hold their own.
Okay. Yeah. No, I look at a thing that's in our corner, so to speak. We got a number you can't get anymore in the market, so it's agreed with us from that perspective. So that's what I just got to remind myself on.
I'll give you one data point.
I feel gross about this.
To your point, if Indiana's if they're gonna cover, and especially if they're going to try to pull off the upset and win, they're going to have to pay off their drives. They're number 6 in offensive equal rate over expected, so they're getting to the 40 or better. But then they drop to 35th in points per equal, so they're not getting touchdowns. If you're going to beat Oregon, I think you're going to have to pay off touchdowns here. Oregon, number 1 in the nation in offensive points per equal. So they're getting to the 40 at a high rate, but then they're getting touchdowns at the highest degree. Yeah. Yes. So I think it's going to be important there. But again, I really think we don't know how good Oregon is because I don't think they've actually played anybody. I mean, of the two Cali teams, this is a crazy difference. You have a Penn State team that loses to, Oregon beats a team that goes on to lose to UCLA. Indiana beats a team that goes on to beat USC. I mean, those are different resumes to me, different teams. I don't know if we look back and think, oh, did we actually know if Oregon was even good at all? Have they actually played anyone?
I guess damn. All right, we're gonna find out. Chat. Let us. Yeah,
we're gonna find out.
Yeah, let us know what you think though, because I got my questions. But
does anybody have their schedule? I'm trying to pull it up.
Oregon or
yeah.
Like I got it. What you want?
Just like go through the teams they played. It's
All right, here we
nobody.
go. Yeah, here we go. So they started off against Montana State, won 59-13.
Nobody.
Then they beat Oklahoma State, nobody, 69-3. They
Nobody
beat North,
dying. They're dying. They're literally dead now. They were dying then. They're dead now.
right? They beat Northwestern 34-14, like you
Didn't
mentioned, didn't
cover.
cover. Yep. Then they beat Oregon State 41-7, and then they beat Penn State in overtime, right? 30-24. So
On a team that is one of the worst offenses that we have seen in college football this year that couldn't score against UCLA. UNLV beat UCLA. New Mexico beat UCLA.
Right. Yeah. And listen, Kevin, if it makes you feel
Okay.
better, just remember you're not alone, right? It's not just we agree with you, the market agrees with you.
Yeah, that's like I said. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Look,
Just gonna-
look, I'm not saying it's crazy. There is a strong case though why there's value here on Indiana.
Oh, I love
Okay.
this bet. This is probably my favorite bet of the week.
Oh, let's go.
Actually, my second favorite bet. My favorite
Oh,
bet's
no.
beat off the numbers, but yeah.
Let's go. All right. Sounds good. We'll see what happens. It's going to be very telling to you guys' point either way. We're going to learn a lot after this matchup for sure. So, okay, let's talk about one more marquee matchup for the weekend. It is the weekend of the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma versus Texas. A little bit of luster potentially off of this one for a couple of different reasons. So the Mateer situation, number one, is he in? Is he out? I think that's still technically a question mark. Heard some scuttlebutt about whether he might be able to come back for this one or not. And then obviously from the Texas side, fallen out of the graces of sort of the national love fest that's been going on with them all year, coming off that loss to Florida. Now unranked. And I don't know, Steve, this is not exactly the game I would want from Texas standpoint as like a bounce back game. Like
Hell,
this is a crazy good Oklahoma defense, right? And you saw the struggles that Arch and co had against Florida and in that matchup here. So this OUD is elite. It's our number one defensive rated success team. Our number two echo rate over expected. Like it is just top to bottom going to be a tough road for Arch and co. But again, like with the Mateer situation, I think the market's priced that he's not going to be in. I don't know what you guys think because it opened at -3. It's sitting at that kind of 1.5 mark now. So we'll see if or how much it moves if he's ever ruled in officially. But yeah, I mean, is this going to be another ugly loss for Texas?
You said this is not a good bounce back game. The only bouncing is going to be Texas falling, hitting the rock bottom from last week, and then their body bouncing up a little bit and hitting the ground again here. Like,
Call
yeah,
that a
there
dead
is
cat
no
bounce
round.
in the
Yeah,
financial
absolutely
markets.
not. I mean, Arch Manning has looked absolutely shaky at best over his tenure for the most part here. Sacked 7 times against Florida, pressured on 61% of his dropbacks against his O-line that, we always talk about, Texas, Ohio State, Bama, having them dudes and be able to replace them dudes with no problem. But this O-line has replaced 4 starters, and they do not look as confident or as qualified as they did last year. And that is extremely concerning when you have a quarterback who is just not consistently making smart and accurate plays here. And there was damn near a QB controversy at the end of the Florida game when the backup Matthew Caldwell came in, and they had a little bit of a spark there. People saying, "Oh, well, should we bench Arch for Caldwell?" Which, man, how the mighty have fallen here. And so when you talk about Mateer, yeah, let's talk about this for a second. He had the injury in the throwing hand, the bone fracture. They had the surgery. They said he maybe could miss a month. Now they're saying he maybe could be playing. Oklahoma's moved practice inside so no one can see him throw. But here's what no one's talking about, right? Mateer injured his hand in the first quarter of that Auburn game. He then went on to throw a touchdown pass in the second quarter. He then went on to lead a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. So yeah, he's hurt. Yeah, he had the surgery, but is he really going to be that effective if he can play? Now, of course, we will see, right? Because he had the injury and now the surgery as well. But I'm not buying that this is going to be some 30% of his former self Mateer if he does play. I think you get a pretty close to a healthy or at least a serviceable at worst starter. But even if he doesn't, I'm going to talk about this in the next section for off the numbers because I actually have Oklahoma money line here. People are going to talk about Michael Hawkins, the backup, in this game they played last year. And these are 2 completely different scenarios. The last thing I'll leave here for this segment here is even if you have the offensive question marks, what you don't have is the defensive question mark because the Oklahoma defense is for real. 2nd in sacks, 16 in run defense. And if Florida had their way, imagine what Oklahoma is going to do here. I don't see a pathway forward for Texas's offense to do anything. Now, I will argue, to play devil's advocate, Texas defense is legit. They could do something, but I'm not buying this idea that Texas offense is going to be a any match for this.
All right, yeah, Seth, the Mateer question notwithstanding, I mean, this is a defense like you mentioned defense is going to be front and center all game long, no matter I think which quarterback starts for Oklahoma. But is there any what's the route here for Texas to win and or at least cover?
Well, I mean, Oklahoma is better than Texas in every single category. And we make this number -5 Texas. Texas is favored in our numbers. And this is the reality of why. Priors. When you're looking at college football, you need to understand who this team was the year before. This team is a team full of dudes. Yes, they lost a lot, but they're number 4 overall talent roster. This is the biggest game in their season, likely, if they're not going to make the playoffs. And I don't know that it matters if Mateer his hand is really hurt. They're a run-first offense, 16% run rate over expected. This is a team that runs 16% more than an average team. They're not looking to throw it. So I don't know that it matters. I'm sure they're going to cast his hand up and just run the damn ball. That's what they were basically doing anyways. It's really difficult to understand what the pathway here for Texas is, but just knowing that they have a lot of talent, I don't think it's going to be with Arch. 83 number 83 ranked offensive passing team for Texas going up against our number 1 pass defense in Oklahoma. So I don't think the success is going to come there, but it's hard to see the rush game. 73rd best offensive rush team for Texas going up against the 19th best rushing defense in Oklahoma. So the success is going to be tricky, but if there is going to be a game where you got a 5-star that should be able to come out, look, Lagway is a 5-star that's been struggling that came out against Texas. So why can't Arch do it here? If this is a rivalry game, this is a big game. A lot of people are going to get up for it. If there is something that Texas should be able to wake them up, this is the game. Now, is that going to happen? It's really hard to feel like it is.
Sure.
But I just want to, priors, right? Why didn't Miami win the national championship, right? They were killing everybody, right? At some point, you come back to earth about who you were the year before. The year before has some amount of information in it. Why aren't we high on Florida State? Florida State came soaring high. Now all of a sudden they're coming back a little bit. So I just want to point this out, that regression to the mean for Texas looks like they actually get a little bit better.
Can I make one quick point, and I'll say the rest are off the numbers here.
Sure.
The point Seth made for you guys watching is so fundamentally true, and we have learned that, and it's been a saving grace from doing this for the last 3 years. I will argue, though, I think Oklahoma, if there were ever an exception to last year priors or rolling 15 games and prior, Oklahoma is the exception, because they were decimated with injury last year, which is why they could get nothing on offense. And I'll talk a little bit more about that from a narrative side. But I'm with you, though. I do agree. I don't want to just let's not get all crazy here. Texas does have dudes, and they can turn it on. But I'm with you, Seth. It is hard to find a pathway forward in this one game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, this is the one I'm happy we're not betting.
Yeah.
Because it just feels very obvious Oklahoma is the right side here.
Well, let's not bury the lead. Steve's betting it, so let's talk about that here for a minute.
Give us
so matchups are in the books here. Let's jump ahead to off the numbers here. Best bets of the week from each of us here. I don't know, just a quick aside, if you guys saw it, I uploaded to our little shared drive, but here we have official unit tracking numbers. So I am 5-2 overall here. Had an extra bet, 2 bets last week. So year to date,
right?
It was 2 separate bets. It was a spread plus a money line for Maryland, and then they botched it at the end there. But I year to date am up 2.86 units. Seth coming up here at 0.6 units in the positive.
Hey, that's profit.
Let's go. Steve rounding us out here. You both are 3-3, by the way, so you can see here kind of the difference in odds and stuff. So Steve, you are in the red by a quarter of a unit. So feel free to check my math, and you check it out.
I will 100% be checking your math. Yeah.
But so let's talk about some best bets nonetheless here. So we talked about it. Let's just tie off the point, Steve. So what are you on for off the numbers best bet this week?
Yeah, here. So like we just said, I'm on Oklahoma money line, even money at Caesars plus 100. And then this is what I want to talk about last year. So everyone's going to say, oh, well, look at this game last year. Michael Hawkins Jr. started. Texas won 34-3. They beat Oklahoma's ass. Yeah, that is true. That did happen. And let's talk about why that happened. Because Oklahoma's receiving group was absolutely decimated. So you start the season. Nick Anderson was supposed to build off a sensational 23 campaign. You had Andrew Anthony working back for an ACL injury. He's supposed to be a contributor. You had Jaden Gibson, who was taking a step further. Jalil Farouk, who had a lot of transferring. And you brought in Deion Burks as your speed threat to take the top off the defense. Well, then what happened? Gibson went down in fall camp. Anderson, Anthony, and Farouk played combined a 30. They combined for 35 snaps all season long. And then you had Deion Burks, who they were just force feeding the ball in the first 3 weeks. Then he goes down. And so none of those receivers who I just mentioned, who were supposed to be a contributing part to this offense, played in this game last year. Whether it was Michael Hawkins or Jackson Arnold, they had nothing going. That's why they had the QB carousel last year. This is not the same team. We talked about the stats. We talked about the EPA. Oklahoma's defense is for real. Texas passing offense is absolutely not. Their run game is okay, better, but this is not the same team that you had last year. So whether it is Hawkins, whether it is Mateer, I don't think it matters. I can't see a way forward based off what Texas did against Florida that they're going to have any hope here against Oklahoma. We saw what Oklahoma did against Michigan. We thought Michigan and Texas was supposed to be a really good, offensively talented team. I mean, Brent Venables knows how to coach, say what he wants about his record, but defense is the one thing he's good at. So, I'm taking money line Oklahoma plus 100 Caesars.
All right, let's get it. Let's get back into the positive units here for you. So, all right, sounds good, Steve. I'll go next. So I am going with another over under here. I've had 3 so far, 3-0 by the way in those. But I am going. They've all been unders, and I'm switching it up, baby. We're going over. We're going points. Arkansas and Tennessee over 68.5. Minus 110. That's available in a couple spots. But it's not overly complicated from what I've been able to deduce here. 2 good offenses that both like to air it out, and both are top 20 in our echo rate over expected per our numbers. And both teams defensively are terrible at keeping teams, holding them to field goals once they get into scoring position. Arkansas number 72 and Tennessee number 99th in the country per our numbers. So teams are generally able to score touchdowns more often than not when they get into scoring position. Tennessee has soared over this number in every single game they've played this year. Arkansas, not so much, but they're averaging their offense is humming. So I like 2 good offenses in a good old fashioned SEC shootout. So give me over 68.5 points, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, and we're on Arkansas plus 13.5 too. So we think they'll have some success in that game as well. So makes sense. Yeah, I'm staying the SEC here. I think our model really loves. There's a signal that we're not quite on, but I really love it. I'm gonna buy the hype here. Georgia over Auburn. I think the current spread is at 3.5. I will do alt season here. Ooh. 6.5. I don't have current odds on it, but I'll get that for the team. But obviously it'll be a plus money here. Minus 6.5 Georgia. Really, both these defenses suck at defending the pass. It's going to be Jackson Arnold versus Gunnar Stockton. Give me Gunnar Stockton. Give me the big old balls. He obviously came in the SEC championship, won. He pulled out that win basically single-handedly, other than the kicker, in the Tennessee win. And I just think that Auburn and Jackson Arnold just don't really have what it takes here. And it's going to be a shootout. And I just think Georgia's going to kind of pull away with it. They know how to win that game a little bit more. And I actually trust the younger kid in Gunnar Stockton here. So give me Georgia, go Dogs.
Another all season. Oh my God, I love it.
Man,
I love it.
Producer Eric, we got to get a DJ whatever drop for all season. We do it too much. Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah, producer tag. Yeah, we need a producer tag.
All right, sounds good, Seth. Yeah, Georgia minus 6.5. It's all season, baby. Let's go off the numbers. So, all right, we'll keep that going. Again, we do the best bets every single week. Just a friendly competition that we'll be tracking as the season goes on. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we got the matchups in the books. We got off the numbers in the books. Model numbers and free play coming up here in just a minute. Don't forget, you're here. Why not? Make sure you like the video. Let us know in the comments what you think of these plays. Appreciate the comments coming in so far. And always make sure you're subscribed and keep those notifications on for the channel, baby. All right, we got one thing left to do. We're making good time on our heart out. Let's get to it. All righty. So we 101 on free plays so far. Last week, Minnesota plus 24 did not go through, but Iowa State before that went through with ease. So 101 on the free plays. We're still looking to keep the good times rolling here. So Seth, I will turn it over to, I'm just going to call you Nostradamus actually, because maybe that's good juju, good vibes here. So let's talk about what we got for the people for the people with CFB free play this week.
Yes, free play is one that's going to feel a little uncomfortable, but is actually kind of sneaky, really, really sharp. Pitt plus 10.5 here, and I'll tell you why. FSU is good offensively. We've seen them struggle here in the last 2 weeks. They're down 2 games, but Pitt is really sneaky good throwing the ball. Number 33 pass EPA when throwing the ball, going up against the 70th pass EPA for FSU's pass defense. I really think Pitt's going to be having success here, and that's what the model's picking up. Pitt's also number 15 in points per echo on offense and number 6 in weighted EPA on defense. So they actually might give Florida State a little bit of a headache. Pitt, 10.5. Our model loves this number, and get it while you can.
Yes, sir. I like that. I like the point about the Pitt's ability to finish there in our points per echo metrics. So I like it's a good signal in my opinion. So. All right, ride or die with it. Pitt plus 10.5. Get it while it's hot. Get it while it's hot. So
hail to Pitt.
Hail to Pitt, baby. All right, sounds good. Boy, we made good time. Look at that. All right, we got our heart out. But hey, CFB week 7 just around the corner. It's going to be a fun weekend. Tons of good matchups. We are going to be in College Station for the Texas A&M and Florida game. If you're around, if you know any good, if you know anything good about that area, hit us up on socials. Let us know what's good. Let us know what to do. But excited for the weekend, boys. Appreciate it. We'll be back next. What's that?
I see value. Can you put the car real quick?
Oh yeah. Oh, my bad. How could I forget this? Yeah, thank you. Keeping me honest here. So, all right, before we leave y'all too, we got a couple minutes. Let's knock it out. So we gave you the free play of the week, Pitt 10.5. But look at this. Look at this card. There's volume, baby. There is value all over the board. So there's a lot of plays that we are on this week. What's the number, guys? You remember off the top of your head? 11 total plays. So yeah, volume is our friend. And hey, you know, when you have a quantified edge, you got it. Volume is your friend, right? So
Thursday football, Friday football.
We got every day, baby. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a long, hopefully very good and profitable weekend. And Master of Noel, shout out, man. Good catching next week. Happy subscriber here. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah. So lots of value for us. You saw the card there. If you guys are interested in signing up, we have packages available on our website at btb-analytics.com. Get in while it's good. We are hitting 55%. We are profitable so far, 54% year to date, and we've been profitable betting into college market the past couple of years. Same with NFL. That's what you get as part of our package, hitting 55% in that market as well. And we're in the winners column, and we're profitable. We are winning in the NFL at the moment. We got what do we have? Futures plays, soon to have prop plays as well in the NFL. So lots of value to be had as the season continues on, ladies and gentlemen. So 3 minutes to spare for Nostradamus. Let's go. All right, week 7, boys. In week 7 coming up here. Excited for the weekend. We will be back next week for college football week 8. Until then.
And we'll be back tomorrow for NFL if you guys are wanting to.
NFL week 6.
Forget that too. We got more coming. All day. All right, boys. We're out. See you guys.